Hey everybody, welcome back to Welch's Math class. I am so glad to see you. I always enjoy helping you with some math problems. We are in Module 5 working on ratios and proportions, or rates, ratio, rates, and proportions. And so I want you to capture what you got on the board right here into your notes if you would. A proportion happens when we set two rates or ratios equal to one another. Two rates or ratios equal to one another. So for example, here's a ratio, 7 is to 12. Ooh, not 7 is 12, but 7 is to 12. Let's fix that. Is to 12. 7 is to 12. Okay, so here's my first ratio as 21 is to 36. Okay, so here's a ratio equals to another ratio. We write it in fraction form like this. Now, we can tell if this is a true proportion or not. One of the ways, there's several ways we can check it, but one way we can check it is by cross multiplication. If we'll come in and do 7 times 36, okay, here, and 12 times 21, as we have here, and we work that out, and we see that both of them come up to the same answer, 252, then we know we have what's called a true proportion. A true proportion. Okay, so this is a little bit about proportions and what they are. Now the problem that brought you here, let's take a quick look at that, is where we have a proportion with an unknown quantity in it. So our proportion essentially is 20, okay, is to 12. Let me put it like this. Here's my equals as 5 is to x. Now, we've got a way that we can solve this for the unknown quantity that kind of goes back to the cross multiplication we did just a minute ago. And we're going to use a little bit of algebra here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use our cross multiplication, and we're going to have 12 times 5. There's the cross multiplication. Equals, and then the cross multiplication here, 20 times x, which essentially is, we'll just put down times x, 20 times x, which is essentially 20x. Okay, now we can work this, we can begin to do some solution work on this by simplifying this side. 12 times 5 is 60. Over here this is 20 times x, or 20x. Now, in order to solve for x, what I want to simply do is divide both sides of my equation by 20. So I'll divide by 20 over here on this side. That'll cancel out my 20s, leaving me an x right there, and then 60 divided by 20 is 3. And so my unknown is 3, and that is using some algebraic kinds of information to help me figure that out. Now, I want to go ahead and show you a shortcut for that. I want to show you a quick shortcut to get the same thing, because I think you'll like this shortcut. It's very helpful. It kind of takes advantage of the algebra. So what we can say is to solve this with the shortcut, we will multiply 12 times 5, so we'll start with our cross multiplication, but we won't set up the 20 times x. We'll just multiply 12 times 5 and we'll get 60, and then we'll come back and divide by the other number that's left. The 20 equals 3. So it's essentially cross multiply and divide. Now that is a very powerful thing, especially with a calculator. Any numbers that you put in here, just this times this divided by this, and you'll have whatever's left over. And by the way, it doesn't matter where the x is. Okay, so if we take a look at one more problem here, I'm going to move the x to a different location this time. I'm going to have 18 over 7 equals x over, let's go 35. Equals x over 35. Now, in the last problem, the x was down here, okay? And this time we've moved the x up here. Well, the x could be on either side as well. It doesn't really matter. So we'll cross multiply 18 times 35. Now, of course, you got your calculator. You just punch that in. I'm going to do it out longhand right here real quick. 5 times 8 is 40. I should bring my calculator to this session, shouldn't I? 5 times 8 is 40. 0, carry 4. 5 times, okay, that's that. 0. 3 times 8 is 24. 2. 5. Yep. 9 and 4 is what? 13. 5, 6. 630. Okay, so I'm getting 630. And then I'm going to come right behind that and divide it by my leftover number, my 7. And that's going to get me 90. That's going to get me 90. So x here ends up being 90. 90. Okay, cool. So I hope that little shortcut is helpful to you. Just cross, multiply, and divide. You don't have to go through all the steps of setting up the algebra. Nice little shortcut. But you know about the algebra now, so that's helpful to you. And I will see you next time.